Picture a peaceful garden, shaded by the tall green stalks of bamboo swaying in the wind. In the center of the garden, an old wooden table holds a large jar of vinegar. 3 wise men have gathered around the jar, each ready to taste its contents. These men are none other than Confucius, the Buddha, and Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism. Confucius is the first to step forward. He dips his finger into the vinegar, brings it to his lips, and frowns. "Sour," he says, shaking his head slowly. Next, the Buddha steps forward. He tastes the vinegar and closes his eyes, his expression reflecting deep sadness. "Bitter," he whispers quietly. Finally, Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, calmly approaches the vinegar. He dips his finger in, tastes it, and smiles peacefully. "Sweet," he says with a sense of contentment. How can these 3 great men taste the same thing and have completely different reactions? And even more perplexing, how can so many people find their differing views to be compatible and even complementary?
Welcome, curious souls! Today we embark on a new exploration that will take us all over East Asia. We'll find the answers to these questions and more. Let's begin with Confucius. Our story begins in China. Let's open the book.
It was the year 500 BCE. The Eastern Zhou dynasty had ruled for nearly 3 centuries, but trouble was on the horizon. The power of the Zhou rulers was weakening, and local warlords were beginning to vie for control. These warlords were gathering stronger and stronger militaries, and the only way they could satisfy their thirst for power was to use those militaries. Peace in China was about to be shattered for centuries. The Warring States period was on the horizon. 2 philosophers, Confucius and Lao Tzu, witnessed these same troubling events in China, but came away interpreting them very differently.
Wow! Well, today we'll hear how Confucius saw these events. And where are we now, I wonder? Oh, this is the Hall of Great Perfection at the Temple of Confucius in Qufu, China. Confucius, also known as Confuci, was born around 551 BCE in China. Now, we don't know a lot about the personal life of Confucius, but we do know he grew up in a time of growing political chaos, war, and widespread social disorder in China, as we just saw. As a young man, Confucius studied history, poetry, and rituals, seeking answers to the chaos around him. Confucius believed that the chaos of his time could be overcome if leaders followed traditional, strong moral principles. In other words, Confucius believed that there was a right way to behave and interact with others in every situation, especially for people in power. In his middle years, Confucius became a teacher, traveling from court to court, advising rulers on how to govern justly. Now, Confucius wasn't necessarily successful in convincing the leaders of his time, but his ideas did spread. Many people were attracted to his return to more traditional values and his focus on stability and harmony. These teachings were later compiled into a series of writings called the Analects and passed down through the generations. And the teachings of Confucius weren't only about how rulers should govern. His ideas related to every aspect of society and everyday life. So what exactly were these traditional values or virtues? One of the most central ideas of Confucianism is the virtue of ren, often translated as benevolence or compassion. Ren is the moral compass that guides people to act with kindness and empathy. Confucius is reported to have said, "Never impose on others what you would not choose for yourself." Sound familiar? Ren is sometimes compared to the golden rule, commonly known as "do unto others as you would have them do unto you." But Ren goes beyond the idea of treating others nicely. Confucius believed that a good society was built on the foundation of Ren, where individuals actually prioritize the well-being of others over themselves. Another key concept is li, which refers to rituals and customs. How do you think li is related to ren? You might say that li provides the structure that expresses ren in everyday life. For Confucius, li helps people demonstrate their kindness and respect for others through appropriate behavior, ceremonies, and customs. Whether it is the way you greet someone or how you conduct yourself in society, li ensures that people act with civility and respect for tradition. Xiao, or filial piety, is another central tenet of Confucianism. What is filial piety? The word filial means something related to a son or daughter, and piety is a deep sense of respect or devotion. Put them together and you're usually talking about the respect, obedience, and care that children are expected to show toward their parents, elders, and ancestors. If Confucius's priority was to create order and stability in society, why do you think he was so concerned with filial piety? Well, honoring one's parents and maintaining strong family bonds can help contribute to the stability and prosperity of the wider community. And Confucius also believed that if you establish the practice of obedience and respect in family relationships, it would likely carry over to other relationships, like the one between the people and their ruler. Now, you might have noticed that Confucius didn't mention deities, the afterlife, or worship. That's because Confucianism definitely focuses on how to live morally and ethically in the here and now. So, relationships were a major focus for Confucius. And of course, he had some guidelines for every kind of important relationship. In fact, these statues behind me represent examples of correct behavior according to Confucius. Make sure you have your guided viewing handy so you can complete the graphic organizer as we go along. The first relationship he focused on was between ruler and subject. Confucius taught that a ruler must govern with justice and moral virtue. In return, subjects owe loyalty and obedience. But Confucius believed that loyalty isn't blind. It's earned by the ruler's fairness and wisdom. When a ruler acts compassionately and kindly, subjects are naturally inclined to follow. The second relationship is between father and son. Can you guess which key concept Confucius used to guide this relationship? If you said filial piety, you're right. Confucius believed that in every family, the father must provide care, education, and moral guidance. In return, the son must show respect, obedience, and gratitude. This dynamic supports a strong family unit, which Confucius viewed as the building block of society. The third relationship in Confucianism is between husband and wife. Confucius viewed marriage as a partnership with distinct roles, but based on mutual respect. In accordance with the traditional gender roles of the time, he taught that the husband traditionally should lead and provide for the family, while the wife manages the household and cares for the children. However, both should support each other in maintaining the family's well-being. The fourth relationship is between elder and younger brothers. You might notice Confucius only refers to male siblings, but a more modern Confucianist might include both brothers and sisters in this sibling relationship. In Confucianism, older siblings are expected to act as role models, guiding and protecting the younger siblings. In return, younger siblings must show deference and respect. This relationship mirrors the larger Confucian ideal of learning from those who have come before and respecting the wisdom of elders. How is this similar to the relationships between ruler and subject or between father and son? All of these relationships involve some kind of difference in power or age. And remember, under filial piety, age is power as well. These are all relationships where the more powerful figure is meant to serve as a role model, and the less powerful figure is meant to obey and follow. The final relationship is between friend and friend. This one seems to be addressing two equals. How might Confucius try to guide this kind of relationship? Unlike the other relationships, which involve a hierarchy, friendship is seen as an equal relationship based on trust, loyalty, and mutual support. Confucius believed that good friends should encourage each other to live virtuous lives and uphold moral values. So, these 5 relationships serve as the blueprint for a harmonious society where everyone knows their roles and responsibilities. Why could having predictable roles and responsibilities help create a harmonious society? Think about your own life experiences. Have you experienced any structured environments where there are clear rules or expectations about how people should behave? Maybe a classroom in a school or house of worship, a sports team, or even your family? How do you think those expectations affected people's behavior? Well, Confucius believed that when people know what is expected of them and others, it reduces conflict, ensures cooperation, and fosters trust. Everyone can work together more effectively when they understand their duties, which promotes social order and stability. Take a moment to complete the graphic organizer in your guided viewing. Feel free to review this section if needed. Oh, it looks like we're back in the garden. Let's reflect on what we've learned today. Remember that Confucius tasted the vinegar and found it sour. What did that mean? To Confucius, the sour taste represented the disorder and chaos he saw in the world. Confucius believed that through the cultivation of virtues like Ren, Li, and Xiao, and by following the 5 relationships, society could become more harmonious and the sourness of life could be sweetened by order and proper behavior. Confucius responded to the turmoil of his time with a vision of structure and moral clarity that he believed could restore balance and harmony. In our next lesson, we'll explore how Confucian ideas evolved and eventually became a significant influence in people's lives throughout East Asia for centuries. Until then, friends, stay curious.
Hey, hey.